Hey guys, Thrasher here. We have a brand new update and a brand new summon banner. Let's talk about it right now. Okay, so first up, the update in general is pretty sparse. There's not a lot of new things that change, but we will go through the couple of updates that there are, and then we will talk about the new summon banner. There is not a new Zenkai summon banner, so some returning Zenkai summon banners have come back. We will talk about whether or not you should spend crystals on Zenkai, when you should, when you shouldn't, a little bit, and we'll also do a review of the banner. But first, let's go through the couple things that did change. So, game update announcement details. The only major thing that really happened here, the updated various events, we'll talk about those events in a moment as we look at them, is the fact that they gave us the Extreme Clash medals for the Frieza raid, but they screwed up and they only gave us 0 medals. So you have a little medal thing and it says 0x. They fixed that this morning. I think it was this morning because I'm pretty sure I checked yesterday and they weren't there. You now have the 20 Extreme Clash medals in there. Feel free to go use them, get your Chrono Crystals, whatever you're going to spend them on. That's cool. We can back out of there. That's the only real major thing. The other thing is, they made it more expensive for you to remove a slot on the Awakened You Fool #1, which is the platinum equipment for the cheat coup. You know, if you're someone who goes in and actually works on their equipment to get them, you know, absolutely perfect, that may affect you a little bit. But most of us, we remove a slot once or twice to get something that's reasonably okay, and we live with it. Now, if you're a min-maxer, cool. That's some unfortunate news for you. That's, you know, all there really is to it. So let's talk about Space-Time Duel. So they've changed PvP a lot as far as the rewards go versus when I used to do these videos. There's not a ton that we need to talk about up here. Let's go down. First, we'll talk about this equipment. It's not great. It's pretty restrictive. It's only sagas from the movie characters. 15% strike defense, 15% to strike defense a second time, so up to 30% to strike defense, and then possibly another 10% to strike defense. So the only way you'd want to use this, and you know, there's also the chance of strike attack. You actually don't want that. The only reason you would want to use this equipment item is if you get the strike defense roll, and then you basically get the 15, 15, and 10, so 40% reduction to, or I guess a 40% increase to strike defense, which would be a large reduction to the amount of strike damage that you take for this specific character. With that being said, it's not very versatile. It's only good for reducing strike damage. I would say there are a lot of better options. I probably wouldn't even grab one of these just because obviously equipment slots are finite. You can't have an infinite amount. But if you're willing to pay for it and spend a lot of resources, you can get extra slots. But even with having lots of extra slots, I still don't think this one is really that great. So now let's go down here and talk about the rewards right here. There's two big things that have really happened since the last time I did one of these update review videos. One is that they've added multi-Z power as a reward for ranking up to PvP rank 50. I highly recommend you getting to 50 because I think it's 3 of the multi-Z power 100, so that's 300 Z power for whatever sparking you want to use it on. It might be 4, but I'm pretty sure it's 3, and you just get those as you get up to battle rank 50 and you complete your missions. Now, the other part of it, obviously you can get your title, which is kind of cool, but the other part of it is down here, the featured rewards for actual PvP ranking. So the actual leaderboard ranking at the end of the season, they've done a couple things. One, obviously you get rewards up to top 20,000 now instead of top 10,000, and they've changed it so the #1 place person gets 1,500 Chrono Crystals, cool. Most of the other people in the top 10,000 get 1,000, but then people from 11,000 down to, I think it's 20,000, all get a very small amount of Chrono Crystals, which is cool. And then the top ranking people, the very, very highest, get, I think, multi-Z power 200, which is cool. And then people in the middle area, I think it's, I'm not exactly sure on this, I think it's like 1,000 down to like 10,000, get 100 multi-Z power, which is also very nice. So there's multiple areas where they've added multi-Z power over this last year. It is worth it, in my opinion, as long as you have a little bit of time to do this. It does take a little bit of time to get to battle rank 50. So if you're not someone who PvPs a lot, it's going to be a little rough for you. If you're someone who PvPs regularly, you're probably going to get it done anyway. That's just the main thing I want to mention, is that you should be getting to battle rank 50 because there's Z power there, and as we all know, the name of the game now is Zenkai characters, so you want to make sure you're getting all your characters 7 stars. So let's back out of here, and then we can go ahead, and I think the next thing, so the Halloween event, nothing has really changed. They did obviously bring in some new events. I wouldn't even really call them new events. They switched out some events that can give you different adventures for the Halloween adventure if you want to worry about that. The two Zenkai summon banners. So these are returning banners. These are not new Zenkai banners. I'm not going to do reviews on these because they're old. In the future, when a new Zenkai banner comes, I will do a review of it. But generally, the rule of thumb is this. Even if you're a free-to-play player, you always want to Zenkai a character because the Zenkai ability is so good that in the future, when you have 40 or 50 Zenkai characters and most of whoever your primary unit is on your team has like 3 different Zenkai abilities powering them up, they're going to be so much stronger than someone who only has one Zenkai ability powering it up that you won't be able to compete. So the main reason that you have to Zenkai every character, and the other reasons are obviously when you Zenkai a character who's amazing up to, say, Zenkai Awakening rank 7, they have lots of awesome abilities and their stats are really good, but the main thing is that 1, the stats increase, but 2, that Zenkai ability is very, very versatile, or will be very, very versatile in the future, and you're going to need it. So that's the main idea there, is almost always when you see a new Zenkai banner, I'm going to say spend 1,000 on it, get the character to Zenkai Awakening rank 1, and then probably pass after that. Don't spend any more crystals. But there's no reviews of these two today. So let's go ahead and talk about the Vegeta event. So they've basically changed this event so that it's similar to all the new events, where it's not just Battle 1, Battle 2, Battle 3, Battle 4. It's got the map with the take this path to this path. The major thing that we want to keep in mind here is this Vegeta can now be Zenkai'd, and his stats are very good. If you have him anywhere near 14 starred out, I would assume most people have him, you know, at least 11 or 12 stars, even if you're completely free to play. And even if you're free to play and you've been playing for more than like a year and a half, I'd be pretty surprised if you don't have him completely maxed out. So let's go ahead and switch the Zenkai over. Now, here's the thing is, the Zenkai ability is not as good as a Sparking Zenkai ability. It's not to all 4 stats. It's not to strike, attack, and defense, blast, attack, and defense, but it is to strike, attack, and blast attack, which are still very powerful. And this guy is a blasty boy. He likes to shoot the energy beams like nobody's business. So let's go down here and just take a quick look at this. Just his not even a challenge thing. When he enters the battlefield, he gets 20% of blast damage. Powerful, right? But the other thing is he gets a 10% damage reduction every time he jumps back into battle for 20 seconds. That's also great. But then as you see, if he's the last character standing, he basically gets an 80% damage boost to his blast, as well as a 20% damage boost to just all damage in general. And the next thing down, the Encroaching Terror, applies the following effects to self once 30 timer counts have elapsed from battle. So basically, once the beginnings of the battle have started, you're nearing the end, at 30 timer counts, you probably haven't lost both characters at that point. So whenever you do lose both characters, if you take the 80% buff from before and you get this 35% buff, you're now at 115% damage buff to your blast, and it's going to reduce your strike and blast cost by 5. This, even though he is a extreme character, he's going to be putting out unreal damage, especially if you have him close to 14 stars, because his stats are very, very good once you Zenkai him, at least in comparison to some new unit who might just come out. Now, I could talk about the rest of his abilities and how they've changed. We don't really need to do that. The idea here is you should be maxing him out if you have that ability, and you do have that ability in his new event, or the change to the event. You can go in and you can get Awakening Z power from, as you can see right here, the Awakening battle, as much as you want basically, and then the bonus battle will give you a ton extra once a day, so that way you don't have to do it quite as many times, because it is going to take quite a few attempts to get him completely maxed out to Z Awakening 7. So let's go ahead and talk about the equipment. So there's only one new equipment item here, and the others are fairly old. I think there's only one that's actually good that's not super old, but there are like 4 good ones. So let's run through these real quick. First off, You Should Feel Lucky is the new one. It's 15% to strike defense, which is okay. It is 12% to blast attack and 12% to blast defense. Now 12% would normally be a little bit low, but because you get both, it's definitely worth it. And then the last one is 5% to blast attack per Saiyan Saga Z or Frieza Force battle member. So as long as you're running him on a full team of either Frieza Force or Saiyan Saga Z characters, you're going to get a 15% boost to blast attack, which is pretty nice. So this is an extreme and yellow type. They have to be both. You're going to use it for the Vegeta. There's a couple other characters that it might be usable for, but none of them are really that powerful right now. They're going to need Zenkai Awakenings just like this Vegeta got. So I would say get one of these. I guess if you want, you could get 2, but you really only need 1 for the Vegeta right now. If you want to get a second one in case, you know, there's that 1 in a million chance where there's another extreme yellow blast unit that gets Zenkai'd in the near future, you can do that. But I'm sure this event will come back around sometime in the near future, or you can get it from one of the equipment-based events, or you can buy it probably from the store. I haven't actually checked if you can buy it from the equipment store, but the point being, you want at least one of these for your Vegeta. Now, these down here, you don't really have to farm if you've been playing the game for a fair amount of time, because the elites can be beaten, and the I'm an Elite have been around for a very long time. I want to say, I think both of them have been around for, well, I know both of them have been around for the same amount of time because they came out at the same time. But I believe they've been around for over 2 years. They are still both great items, and as you can see in the equipment conditions, they're kind of catch-alls. One is for any blue character, one is for any yellow character, so it is nice to have a few of these, so that way as you build a team out, maybe you have a character or two who you're not really sure what extra equipment item to put on them. These two are both great options. 20% to blast attack on the elites can be beaten is awesome, and then 20% to strike attack on the I'm an Elite. They're kind of the opposites of each other, which is cool. So if you don't have probably 2 of each of these, I do recommend grabbing them, but if you've been playing for any amount of time, you probably have pretty good quality of both of these, and you probably have 2 or 3. Now, the rest of these we don't really need to go through, other than this one. This is the Kaioken. We'll talk about that in a second. But the rest of these down here are really not worth your time. We'll just look at them real quick. We'll scroll through. There's 2 silver quality equipment, which generally you only use a silver if you just don't have any gold options. And then this gold right here is really not great in my opinion. 13% to blast attack, 18% to strike defense. The strike defense is high enough that it could be a reasonable slot, but then the other issue is it's only 10% to strike attack, and it's pretty restrictive as to the fact that you have to be running either a red or a blue character as a battle member, and in order to use this, you have to be using a purple Sagas from the movies character. Now, with that being said, there are multiple cases where it does make sense that you have a purple on your team and you have a red on your team. A good example of that is when you're running a purple red, for example. But I just don't think it's really worth a slot, especially when you're looking at 13%, 18%, 10%. Really not that amazing, especially since Sagas from the movies and purple is pretty restrictive. Now let's talk about this guy. So this is usable by any melee character, so it's very versatile. There's tons of characters that can use it. 15% to strike defense is good. The 12.5% to strike attack is a little bit low, but here's the key. Because it's for a melee character and it's 15% to strike defense, that's obviously good. There are lots of use cases where you're going to want strike defense as a melee character. Now, the other side of it is the fact that you can stack your strike attack. So you can get 18% to strike attack in slot 3 and 12.5 in slot 2, which means you can get 30.5% strike attack increase to a melee type character. So I do think that this is worth it if you don't already have one of these. You could even grab 2 because it's so versatile in that it's being melee type, but keep in mind that it is a very specific use case. This is only for boosting the damage of a melee type character. It doesn't really give a lot in the way of key recovery or any real defense. 15% to strike defense, not super high, but again, as I've said before, 15% is passable. So that's where all of those stand, and we can jump back out of here, and I believe that means that we are onto the summon banner. So let's go over to the summon banner real quick. I'm going to jump over there. Okay, so this is the new Legends All-Star banner. It has the Metal Cooler and then the Vegeta from the Metal Cooler movie. Now, here's the thing. We are in the Zenkai meta right now. Basically, unless a character is absolutely broken, they're not going to be able to compete with characters that are currently Zenkaiing. So we have a few characters that have Zenkai'd a couple months back, and at this point, they're not amazing. But any character that has Zenkai'd within the last 6 weeks probably will pretty much destroy these two characters unless you have them up at like probably 11, 12, maybe 13 stars, and the amount that you would have to spend to get them there, it's just not worth it. Now, with that being said, you also want to make sure that you are spending on new characters at least to a level where there's a chance that you have at least one pull on it, but hopefully a few stars on it by the time that it gets close to them needing to be Zenkai'd again. With that being said, chances are most characters, when they come out, they're not going to be Zenkai'd for a year or maybe more after they initially come into the game. So I wouldn't worry about that too much, but you do also want to be grabbing these characters when you can get them at extreme discount. So basically what that means is I would only be spending on this banner when you get the daily discount, because there's no one on here that's worth really going after. There's a couple characters that are Zenkaiable currently, but they've been out for a while. I wouldn't spend full price crystals on them. I think it's the Majin Buu, and let's go to featured, or not featured characters, Z-Power list real quick and go down here. It is the Majin Buu and the Cooler. So neither of those is amazing, even once they're Zenkai'd. They got Zenkai'd too long ago. There's no one in here that you absolutely must have if you don't already have them. They will not make you competitive in current PvP. So the main thing is I would only do the daily discount on this. There's no reason to be spending extra crystals that you're going to need for basically every Zenkai banner that's going to come into the game from here on out pretty much every week. And you want to be saving crystals for the fact that Christmas or whatever their catch-up banner is going to be for the holidays is like a month away. So this is a 2-star Dragon Ball banner. It's only worth doing daily discounts. Don't do anything else with it. And if you guys think I missed anything in this video, please let me know. Throw it down below. Love seeing your comments. If you guys like this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.